Hello, my beautiful souls. It's me, Ruby, and you're listening to the Ruby Garnet Show. If you're new here, I do a quick disclaimer, so please, I appreciate the patience in it. But if you're here, you've been here, welcome back. So basically, overall, what this show is all about is me on the go, always talking about like spiritual related things, but also to teaching you guys like how-to skills for the most part. Like I'm role modeling things actively. Like this month, for the most part, the theme is dream analysis. Last month we did tarot cards, and so I'm very Sagittarian, so I have to shift things around all the time or else I get bored. So if you're like, I'm not really into dream analysis, like, if you just wait long enough, we'll probably be on crystals eventually. We'll eventually do angels. We may even talk about deities, but this month it's dream analysis. And right now, basically, overall, it's just like, think about it. Like, everyone's had a dream, right? And everyone's been like, oh, I wonder what that meant, right? And it's not that I'm telling you, oh, okay, this means this. It's more like, okay, like the real practical side of it all. Like, for me, personally, this is how it works for me. It doesn't have to necessarily fit for you. You can always drop it. You can try other skills. There are plenty of books out there about vivid dreaming. Now, again, remember, disclaimer, right? I'm not an LMC, doctor, financial, legal advisor. All choices are your own. Entertainment value only. Timeless. Generally, you drop whatever doesn't resonate, but you have to pursue services that are relevant for you. I cannot be a replacement for good services, whatever those may be. So for today, we're going to talk about the hard reality of sometimes you only remember bits and pieces of your dream, and you're kind of like, oh man, like I remember some stuff, but I don't remember everything. And we're going to start off with the fact that, you know what, that's okay. You don't have to remember everything perfectly. So sometimes what you'll get is like a sense of things. Like you'll have, I think at some point I was on, I don't know when it was, but I was on a boat. I was moving. I don't know if it was a sailboat or a tugboat, but I remember the sense of moving in one direction, and I was okay. It could be something like that, and that literally is basically what happened. I don't know when that happened per se in my dream, but I do recall a feeling of safety, a feeling like everything was going to be okay. But then, whether this happened first or after this dream, I don't know. What I do know is that I had a dream where there was this race going on. Like everyone wanted to get up this hill and they wanted to get money. And it was a man-eat world kind of situation where there was this one dude who had hired a bunch of thugs to target me. And they were stabbing me, and sorry, trigger warning. There should always be a trigger warning at this, and I do apologize if you are triggered, but I always forget. So eventually remember to remind people, but that should be in the disclaimer. But and I found myself feeling like at the like I was going up this hill, right? It was really hard, and then one thing after one brought me further down the hill. I remember, I'm going to go a different way. I'm just going to cut through this hill. And I went through the forest, and there was more sketchy people with knives and a bear for all. Like a bear came out. And I can't remember if the bear was my enemy or not. I don't really recall. I remember, though, there was a bear there in the woods. And I remember, I had to kind of like take a breath, and I tried again to go up that hill. Now, this is a very short scene. Most of us, I think, would admit that we'd like to remember a lot more, to the point where we don't have most of us are like, oh, I just want more than that, right? But I would pause you there. This is actually a very valuable dream. This is actually probably the gold of dreams, because this dream is telling me something really important. I mean, you can't ignore something like this, right? Like, you should never ignore a dream like this, because fundamentally it's saying that I'm trying to accomplish a goal of some kind, and it's a very difficult goal, but there are forces all around me that are trying to prevent me from accomplishing this goal, whether it's psychic. So this dream could actually be possibly your subconscious trying to warn you of an impending psychic attack if it hasn't occurred yet. So this might be like, okay, you might need to get some psychic protection going on, girl. Like, you may need it. I may have to take time to do that soon, right? And this could be something that's currently going on. I don't feel psychic attack energy. This doesn't feel like that to me, because the next day, like, I didn't feel drained. I felt actually energetic. I felt, rested. So this doesn't have psychic attack vibes for me, but it does kind of feel like, okay, either I'm going to have a psychic attack coming, or someone doesn't have my back. Someone is, like, in my actual environment going to harm me at some point, right? And I work in a school, and schools are very political, even if you don't think they are. Like, a lot of us think before you work in a school, most of us think these are safe places for our kids, right? And mostly that's true and kind of not, because as someone who grew up with racial violence in schools, I would say no. Actually, I have never had experience where I felt safe in a school. I mean, I did, but for short bursts, and that was for elementary and preschool. But then the older I became, like, the less and less safe I felt, especially in high school. So, and I also too work in a school, and it's not my direct bosses, like the director. It's not like the person who directly supervises me. It's actually the people who are up high in the food chain that I don't trust, that I think, because of what's currently going on with the Department of Education and there's other stuff going on too, that I feel like, yeah, actually I don't trust them. I think that if they get an opportunity, or if they're trying to save their own backs, if they're trying to protect their own interests, yeah, they'll come after me. Yeah, they'll target me. Yeah, I know they will. I know that, because all they care about is their money, is all they care about their paycheck. All they care about is their hidden commitments to looking good on paper, but also they got a survival marathon going on soon. Schools are not going to be safe for a lot of good reasons, because there might not necessarily be staff available for them now. Sorry, but we did go that way, but, like, that's context for me. And you do need to understand context with dreams, because you have context, right? You always have context, and that is relevant to your dreams. And I have to role model this shit for you guys. Okay, so we did that. But later on I had something else in my dream, right? And this is like one of those other, like, small snippets. In my dream, I was pregnant, but I had a choice. I had a choice about that. And there was 3 choices. Yes, no was blue, and maybe it was purple. No for blue means, like, that indicates calmness. Like, that might be a very calm, rational choice. It might be the, like, a safe choice. Purple can mean all kinds of different things. It can mean chaos, like I might be confused, or it might be that I need to connect to my psychic gifts a little bit more on that kind of information. And this may actually mean, like, a legit pregnancy thing, or because birth actually is connected to new beginnings, this could actually mean something else. This could mean that I may be being rational about a new beginning. And literally, as I'm talking about this, a bus goes right by me, Neshoba Valley, saying, "Now hiring." So it's like, well, actually, like if you look at the signs, it could be like that. Maybe with the maybe, right? There's, I do need to do more psychic exploration on this thing, because as you see, there's like all times different choices. There's no color for yes. Why is there no color for yes? Maybe I'm not even considering yes. Might be. Ooh. And we have to ask ourselves, what did I feel like in that moment, right? What did I feel like? Now remember, the previous dream, the context was that someone's not really necessarily out for my own well-being. They're not there for their own interest. They want that money, and they're willing to hurt me so they can keep that money. So why the hesitancy in a new beginning? Why is it blue for no? Am I being too calm? Am I gaslighting myself, thinking this is a good place? What's going on here? And I think this is when you definitely want to bring out the cards, because anytime there's any confusion after a dream of backstabbing, that's a good indicator that that maybe someone is potentially trying to influence our choices. Maybe. I know it doesn't seem like it, right? Because you're like, well, you're being rational if you say no, right? You know, at this point in time, a lot of people say, yeah, it's a rational choice to say, no, I don't want to be pregnant. But if we're thinking about a new opportunity and we flip it, right? Is it really that rational? And sometimes the reason we may be afraid to have a new beginning is this big unknown, right? Like it's very confusing. But purple is the color of psychic talents and gifts. So maybe there's another opportunity that we're unaware of that could come out of the woodworks, right? And a while back ago, like maybe about 3 to 5, 7 days ago, I had a dream that I was talking to someone, like he was a current coworker, but he's really not. He really isn't. He's just this random person, right? But he's talking to me saying, hey, you know, I have a connection. I have a connection to a different job. It'll pay you $32 an hour, and you'll be working with mushrooms. And I'm like, can I think about it? He's like, yeah, sure. Don't worry about it, though. Take your time, and the job will be there for you if you decide you want to go for it. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. I appreciate that. And then I realized, yeah, I actually do want that job, because what do mushrooms stand for? Again, remember, this is context, right? What am I doing on this channel? I'm doing work on transformation. I'm trying to teach you guys skills. Yes, it's about psychic talents and gifts, but I'm not actually doing psychic readings. I'm teaching you the how-to. And I feel like mushrooms for a lot of people tend to be a nice healing shroom. They're a fun guy to be around. Yes, I know. I've already did that joke. But mushrooms have been popping up a lot for me since that dream. You know, whether in my everyday today life. I'm not kidding you. And so, you know, we can refer to all dreams. If we have a dream journal, or we're really good at remembering our dreams, we can say, okay, well, you know, what in context did happen before in another dream? Is there something that this is potentially connected to? And it may mean that maybe I do have another opportunity on the line coming up, but I have to be patient for. Maybe. It could be me maybe that like this channel is going to be a lot more successful, and that you guys are going to be a fundamental part of it. Possibly. It could mean a lot of different things. It could mean like Osho or somebody out there listens to this and be like, we gotta hire this girl. We need her to be on our team, because some of the stuff she's talking about, I feel like she can be a major contribution on the show, or on our services, on our platform, because she says some really great stuff, you know? I mean, like, I feel like I feel like I'd be really good at supporting spiritual transformation. I know I'm good at it for myself. I know I've helped myself. So I'm like, yeah, Here's my business card, by the way. And context, right? Because for the past couple episodes, I have been talking a lot about business. A lot. Like in a prayer for my last episode, it popped up. It was the inner child work episode that on Sunday. And they like, for whatever reason, divine source went to the chakra. And sorry, I had to slow down because someone was in the emergency lane. But yeah, so like if you think about also to context about our own readings that we do for ourselves on a regular day-to-day basis, our dreams are so interconnected to our world. You know, you cannot just like, oh, like I just look at my dream by itself. I'm like, you can if you want. Sometimes you can, but you can't just like okay, this is my personal stance on dream analysis. Context matters. You can open up a book, right? You can do that. But the moment you open up the book, you're losing out on the context of your own life. And you're missing out your own personal symbolism for that meaning, right? Because you are the dream analysis book. And when you over rely on books, you're not, I mean, you should have a book. Don't get me wrong. But the moment you over rely on that book, you lose the ability to actually really understand that dream. I mean, what do mushrooms mean for me? They're like the psychedelic teaching mushroom. I feel like that you shouldn't take it a lot. I feel like personally for me, they're meant to happen once in a blue moon and for shamanic purposes to like, it's like, I think it's a teaching plant. It's like, if I were to say, okay, like, let's say it's like 5 years down the road, I organized a thing, right? And I took shrooms. I remember, like, this was years ago, I took shrooms and I'd never taken them before. And it was an incredible experience because I feel like I had a lot of learning, teaching moments in it. I had this weird relationship with this boyfriend who was he was a fiance, but he wasn't my fiance. He didn't act like one. He was very needy, and I had the willpower to say, you know what, I'm going to ask around, see if people want to keep an eye on him, but I don't feel like taking care of him. I'm like sick and tired of doing what he wants to do. I'm always doing what he wants to do. I haven't really had a chance to just explore this music festival for myself. Like, and I know that technically, actually, this is not a safe thing to do. You know, you should always have a buddy system, but my buddy system sucked ass. And I was very lucky that this was actually a safe adventure. Like, it worked out really well for me, where I actually had a lot of moments where deep symbolism came all around me, that life was art, and that, you know, part of the Dorothy Wizard of Oz going down the golden path is really, you have to have courage at any given moment, you know? Like, I remember coming to this dude. I was high. He was like, what are you on? Like, what are you talking about? But I saw this deep symbolism coming all around me, that I was on this golden path and that I had to be brave. I had to be very brave if I was going to grow up. And I mean, there was other stuff too that happened on that, but I had, it was clear that I didn't actually implement that lesson. I was really stupid for a couple of years after that, and I had to really like shake a lot of bad influences on me. Whether they were around me or not is a whole nother matter. It really is, because sometimes you can carry those things with us and we don't process a lesson and fully implement it, you know, because you could have a lesson, but, you know, with shrooms, you actually have to implement the lesson. We have to say, okay, I'm actually going to put this into practice. I'm actually going to be brave and take accountability and responsibility in my life. and do things differently, like lead a life that is away from all these outside male influences, and trust my inner voice and trust my psychic guidance of what the right path is. And a lot of what my dreams are talking about for these male figures actually trying to do me harm. It's always male figures in these dreams a lot lately. You know, I mean, I've had a female dream, like where there was a ghost ancestral spirit trying to harm me, and that was very different, but that was like still, like it was, you know, like to me it was indicating that there are these forces that want me to stay small, to stay exactly where I am at the bottom of the hill. And, you know, and when we're being easily influenced by other people, whether it's like real people or influences from our past that might as well be ghosts, right? Or by our society, our culture, we can't really actually think for ourselves. We can't actually be able to utilize our psychic gifts. It's very difficult to be a psychic when you're a people pleaser and you're easily influenced by other people. You just can't, because it would mean, okay, I got a psychic message that this person's out to get me, so I'm gonna go leave this situation. Like you know, I mean, like say you have a really toxic friend, you're codependent, and you have for a very long time felt very needy, and this person, like you have, like say you get psychic guidance saying like this person's bad for you, you gotta end this relationship, and you don't. What was the point of having a psychic gift? What's the point of having psychic lessons in place if you don't implement them? I know this got deep, guys, this got deep, but this is usually dream analysis. It means looking at the context. It means looking at symbolism and actually allowing our mind to free flow and say the truth out loud. And I will say this to you guys, I struggle with people pleasing and being influenced by other people, and this makes it very difficult to be a psychic, because my psychic gifts are saying you gotta go. Like, you gotta go. Like, at one point they're saying you need to stay, and now they're like, oh, you gotta go. Like, the time is right to go. And I'm like, really? Why is the time right to go? I'm like, because you learned everything you needed from this environment. And they're like, you know what? I know you don't like being nomadic, but it's time to go. When someone's out to hurt you, do you stay? Fuck no. That you know the truth. You know that this situation is not a good situation. No amount of anything is gonna make this situation any better. You cannot put makeup on this. You cannot make this look pretty. This is an ugly situation, and it will get worse, is what they're telling me. So I'm like, oh, well, okay, I guess if you say so, Great Spirit. And they're like, yeah, we do say so. We've been saying so for a while now. We told you to stay till the holidays, and now you're dragging your feet. Why? You wanted to leave so badly before, and now why don't you want to go? I'm like, because I got attached. It's Great Spirit. Well, unattach those roots. I literally had psychic guidance to stay at the job, and they're like, no, not yet. And so dream analysis can really also be confirmation of everything that you have been feeling. Or I'm going to try to get a little bit more. So if I were to pull cards, I'm going to imagine with my head. I'm really good at imagining and pulling cards. Death card is really coming strongly for me for this. So if I were to try to get a lot more like this is what I do. I just have a mental deck in my heart space, and death card came up, which is it's time for things to end. It's time to transition into something new and better. Like, you don't have to stay when there's no life to be had, and they're saying like something about a desert right now. They're saying like, this is a desert. There's no water remaining, and the only thing that's going to survive in this situation is like a cactus. And they're prickly, they're tougher, they're resilient. These are the life forms that can take only a little water and they're going to be okay. And they're like, girl, like, you are a plant that needs a lot of water. You need a different environment to do well. This is not something that you're meant for. We wanted you to come here and to learn different things, and to suffer was not one of them. We wanted you to see things from a different perspective. We wanted you to develop your skills in a different spectrum as well, because you are worthy and deserving of so many wonderful things. And so you can open yourself up for channel messages if that is your gift. I think a lot of us think we can't do something just because it sounds weird when we do it, but I think that you can do it personally. We will definitely have episodes on this. And I feel like for dream analysis, a lot of our episodes are going to be a blend of different things because, probably. All right, so we are at, let me see where we are at. We're at 26 minutes. So I'm going to wrap up in a little while, but I have offered this exercise before for people who are trying to remember their dreams. The first step to trying to remember your dreams a little bit better is to actually remember your awake life a lot more better, which means practice remembering random whatever you can about your, like say for instance you saw a crow and you were driving to work. Okay, then remember that you saw a crow. Remember any angel numbers you picked up. You can practice by jotting these things down and putting them in a book, but also to actually actively remember things without that, because the more and more you recall about your life as a whole, the more that you can pull from great spirits in the waking hours. But also too, when you go to sleep, that skill's gonna actually be utilized in this dream life. Because you're going to wake up and you're like, oh, I remember this, I remember that, I remember this. Doesn't mean you're going to be perfect at it all the time. There going to be moments you don't use this skill because we all get tired. We all need to rest. But when it's a habit, you're just going to do it. You're just going to do it. All right, so now we're going to wrap up. I hope that was a good episode for you guys. I appreciate everything you've done. I'm really enjoying these episodes, and I like mixing them up month by month. I like the idea of focusing on something and then switching it up. Last month we did tarot, and I really loved doing that, but then I was going to do it again. I'm like, no, I'm bored. I'm really bored. So if you, again, remember how in the beginning episode I said, if you just wait, it could be about crystals. I haven't done anything on crystals for a while, but it would be fun. Let me know in the comments. We're not doing a vote. I'm going to just go based on my last minute ADHD brain. It probably will be okay, I know what I'm doing now. Because what happened is I got everything pre-recorded in advance, and then I was like, I'm tired. I just want to rest. And so I go in rest mode once everything's pre-recorded, and then at the last minute I decide what the whole month is going to look like, and then I record as much as I possibly can, because I get so exhausted on a regular basis. I'm not bragging. It's not a bragging thing to do, but feel free to look down below for any links, like PayPal for donating, or even you can look down on my website. Whenever I get a chance, I try to update that thing, because you never know, there might be new services, there might be new things we might explore, because dream analysis is pretty fun, but I don't know. I think it would be really cool. I hate to say it because I'm so ADHD, I would need to mix things up, and I would probably create a random service just based on my current mood and be for these months, I think it'd be really great if we just do something random. I don't know. I would love to get my business going. I really would. And a lot of it is just that I am a witch of many hats. So I have the usual traditional witch hat, and then I have the dunce hat, and then I have I don't know, a crown. You know what I mean? Like, I have a lot of different skills, and I'm always constantly learning as a witch and a psychic. I had a dream that I was getting back into herbs again, and I was really getting into it. And I used to love working with herbs all the time, and I used to do a lot of spellcraft before I had a baby. And there's a lot of fun stuff as a witch and a psychic that you can get really into. And I just got into all of them because I'm ADHD. So it takes, when you're ADHD, you get fixated on something, and then you go to another thing and another thing, and you just can't help yourself because you're constantly a connoisseur of what am I interested in today, and so I had to finally basically utilize this ADHD habit to my own strength, which is why I talk the way I do, which is why so thank you for your patience, and I wish you all well. I hope you enjoy everything that you hear, but please like, comment, share. Everything, every little bit you do really helps, especially in this day and age where we're working jobs that we don't want to work. That's kind of my dream, is to be able to be like working from home, if I'm being honest, doing these things for you guys one way or another. I really would love to write. I'm a pagan writer too. I'm working always constantly on stuff that is done in a very ADHD way. I have multiple projects. Oh my God, it's bad. But it's ADHD pagan projects, and I'm if I had time, what would I do with my time? And I'm oh yeah, I at least get some of my projects done. It'd be great. But I do have one poetry book published, and one of these days I'll remember to share that link, and then I'll let you guys know, and you can check it out. It's not that expensive. It's only $13. I like that number, 13. But I better go. Wish you well. Merry meatballs. Be into the good health of y'all. Toodaloozies.